The leaders of Belarus and Iran signed new agreements on Wednesday to boost bilateral ties in key areas including defense, the two governments said. According to Associated Press, Presidents Alexander Lukashenko and Masoud Pezeshkian signed a package of 13 documents in the Belarusian capital, Minsk. Both governments have been placed under heavy sanctions, limiting potential trading partners. Pezeshkian said Iran would help Belarus to neutralize such measures, citing Tehran's decades of experience circumventing Western economic restrictions. Lukashenko told Pezeshkian that Belarus was ready to cooperate with you on all issues, from providing your country with food to military technical cooperation, calling the Iranian president a friend. The two parties did not disclose any further details on how the countries intend to cooperate in the defense sector. Other areas covered by the agreement include industry and tourism, as well as joint initiatives in science, technology and education. Access to Belarus wood processing and chemical industry, as well as potash fertilizers, can all bring potential benefits to Iran. The two presidents also said their countries would start work toward a strategic partnership treaty. Lukashenko, a close ally of President Vladimir Putin, allowed Russia to use Belarusian territory as a staging ground for Moscow, a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and later allowed the deployment of Russian tactical nuclear missiles. Iran has supplied Russia with drones for use in the war, and Pezeshkian signed a strategic cooperation treaty with Putin in January, although it did not include a mutual defense clause. The Iranian president's visit to Minsk has been postponed several times due to U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. Lukashenko called the strikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure a serious threat to regional and international stability and security. We support Iran's legitimate right to develop peaceful nuclear energy, Lukashenko said.
Мы готовы с вами сотрудничать по вопросам от обеспечения продовольствием вашей страны населения до военно-технического сотрудничества. Еще раз подчеркиваю, здесь нет никаких секретов, мы не дружим против кого-то, мы все делаем на благо наших народов, иранского и белорусского народа.
Подписывают совместное заявление президента Республики Беларусь и президента Исламской Республики.
Мы поддерживаем легитимное право Ирана на развитие мирного атома. Уверен, для достижения прочного мира важно воздерживаться от любых действий, которые могут спровоцировать новую эскалацию.
Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz approved the IDF takeover of Gaza City plan on Wednesday, naming the operation Gideon's Chariots II. The plan was presented to him by IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant Gen. Eyal Zamir and the military's senior command team. Deputy Chief of Staff Major Gen. Tamir Yadai, the head of the Military Intelligence Directorate, the head of the Military Operations Directorate, the head of Coordination of Government Activities in the Territories, Shin Bet representatives, and other senior officials in the security establishment also attended the meeting. Under the new plan, up to 60,000 reservists will be mobilized in addition to the 20,000 already deployed alongside conscript soldiers inside the territory. Operation Gideon's Chariots was a major Israeli offensive launched on May 16 to 17, 2025, across the Gaza Strip. Endorsed by Israel's Security Cabinet, its declared aims included dismantling Hamas's military and governance capabilities, liberating Israeli hostages, and gaining control over approximately three-quarters of Gaza. Over the ensuing months, Israeli forces, including air and ground units, conducted intense assaults, seizing key areas and dismantling extensive terror infrastructure, while also displacing civilians towards southern zones. By early August, the operation was being wound down, but core objectives remained unfulfilled. Hamas was not defeated, hostages were not fully released, and mass civilian displacement had yet to materialize as planned. This latest military operation will see the IDF try to move the entire population in Gaza City to the south of the Strip before commencing with any assault. This is said to be around 740,000 residents. In addition to the reservist call-up, Katz has also approved humanitarian preparations, those civilians set to be displaced. Taking over Gaza City is set to be just the first step in Israel's mission to wipe out Hamas. It is widely understood the plan will continue in every region in the Gaza Strip until it is entirely under Israeli control. Israel is likely to end up having to mobilize more than 400,000 troops for the entire operation. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte on Monday described a U.S. commitment to help allies with security guarantees for Ukraine following any deal with Russia to end the war as a breakthrough, but said details of the support still needed to be defined. According to Associated Press, U.S. President Donald Trump hosted his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelenski and top European leaders in the Oval Office on Monday to energize months of stalled U.S.-led efforts to halt Russia's 3.5-year-old war. With Europeans looking to set up a force that could backstop any peace agreement in Ukraine, Trump suggested that Russian President Vladimir Putin would be open to accepting security guarantees. His special envoy, Steve Witkoff, said Sunday that Moscow was open to accepting NATO-style protections for Ukraine. Trump has ruled out allowing Ukraine to join NATO, which would extend the military alliance's protection to the besieged country. He did, however, express support for security guarantees for Ukraine, though details remain vague. In an interview with Fox News host Laura Ingraham, Rutte said U.S. and European leaders were discussing Article 5 kind of security guarantees for Ukraine. Article 5 of the NATO treaty says an attack on one member nation is an attack on all members, the heart of the Transatlantic Defense Compact. Details around U.S. involvement in the security guarantees for Ukraine will be discussed over the coming days, Rutte added. The possibility of U.S. troops in Ukraine was not discussed Monday, he said.
First, we need to have full clarity collectively, US, the Europeans and the others in this coalition of the willing, on what security guarantees will mean. And again, it is really a breakthrough that the US will get involved. And then again, the level of involvement will now be discussed. What we are discussing here is not NATO membership. What we are discussing here is Article 5 type of security guarantees for Ukraine, and what they exactly will entail will now be more specifically discussed. What that exactly will mean, the US involvement, will be discussed over the coming days. Anyway, we have to discuss more details of these security guarantees, but clearly for Ukraine to consider what to do next when it comes to territory, it is important to also know what the situation will be with the security guarantees to prevent Vladimir Putin from ever trying again to invade parts of Ukraine.
Troops on the ground, is that a possibility?
We have not discussed that at all today, so that will be part of the discussions which will now start. We will try to bring them to a next stage of understanding over the coming days. So today, the conversation was a conversation among friends, among close allies who respect each other, who like each other, who know each other very well, discussing how we can bring this terrible war to an end. And this is a goal we all have in common. And without President Trump, this deadlock with Putin would not have been broken. He was the only one who could do that, starting in February.